It's been out of things can only get better.
Hello, everyone. This is another BJ at Lunch, another week. And like every week, we are here together. Hi, James. How are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you, Blaze?
I'm doing very fine. I was actually pretty intrigued by today's facts, this week's facts, because they were there was a variety.
Yeah, a lot going on.
A lot going on. We were going around the globe. And it's quite exciting times because finally we're not talking about the American campaign. We're not talking about Tory leadership, my favorite topic. But we are talking a little bit about it, but in a different light, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I guess we're looking more about how things have been developing since those big stories that we've been talking about. But yeah, we're definitely still talking about UK and the US.
Yeah. Obviously, US, I presume, going to be one of the hottest topics for the next few months, simply because the guy who is sitting on the throne now is not the most conventional guy, or for some people, the most conventional guy ever.
The most conventional unconventionalists.
Exactly. It's the biggest disagreement to agree ever in history, probably. What we want to do today is to start and focus on crumbling government.
Well, I didn't say crumbling. I would say protesting in Parliament. So I guess the first one would be the one that went viral this week that I got really into. It was just an incredible footage.
Right.
Of the youngest MP in New Zealand, who...
How old is he?
She is early 20s, about, I think, 21? 21, one of the youngest MP in New Zealand, yeah.
Really?
We really missed the mark there. I think we're too old to be the youngest
Jesus
MP.
Christ, I went to uni when I was 22, and they're already MP.
You should have done politics.
Yeah, okay.
So this was MP Hannah Roiti Maipi Clark, who, in response to a legislation that was proposed, a bill that was proposed that would re-look at one of the founding documents of New Zealand, which is the Treaty of Waitangi, which basically recognizes the Maoris as one of the first people. There was this bill that was proposed that would basically reinterpret that document, basically putting to the side the Maoris a bit more. And in response, this MP started doing the Haka and ripped up that bill. It was quite incredible because obviously the Haka, mostly famous because of the All Blacks, the rugby team that does it at the beginning of each game. It's more of a warrior's chant to intimidate the opposition. And it was incredible. The anger of this MP was visible.
And do you think that this gonna actually make her mark her position even more and kind of, stand on the ground even more solid, or it's gonna be opposite? She kind of shoot herself in the foot at the very first moment.
It depends. I mean, the good thing is that it's usually young MPs that do stuff like that. Like even Murray Black, the youngest MP in the UK, was SNP, was probably the most vocal, the most, not necessarily radical, but necessarily the most vocal against the Boris Johnson government.
Right.
But because you're so young, you don't really have anything to lose.
I mean, like you have your career to I look at it in a way that you might do something which is going to jeopardize your whole career because at the very beginning you're going to be like, okay. On the other hand, you have that argument that you're young and stupid.
Well,
I'm using this till today.
Well, the positive spin on this is that it looks like this bill won't pass anyway. It was very controversial that it was proposed in the first place. Obviously, this big protest happened, and which also led to a 9-day march towards the capital, where the parliament is. So it doesn't look like it's going to happen, but I know we're going to discuss it as well later, but because there's been this such big protest, this viral protest, we're talking about it.
Right. But do you personally? I love this show because unlike any other show, we're actually giving our personal opinions. But it's do you personally think that it was a good shout what she did, or Would you say plus or minus?
See, it's the same
Proton or electron?
It's the same argument that I gave when we were talking about paint on Van Goghs or soups on paintings. We're talking about it, and to me, that's good enough. That's the point of protest.
Fair enough, and I like a good soup as well. Okay, well, I think it's brave, and I think the scandal and the good taste. It's a good scandal.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
But elsewhere, there was other protests in Parliament, right?
It was the other protest in the parliament. It was in Georgian parliament, and it was all in referring to the last election. So a few weeks ago, we were talking about it right after, literally one day after, as BJ is always coming on Monday, and that happened on Sunday.
And we're always on top of the news.
As always on top of the news. We were discussing the elections in Georgia, and they were quite historic elections because it was either going pro-Russia or pro-EU, and the pro-Russian party won 53.9%, I believe. So not a big win, but on the other hand, solid, leaving no doubts. And a lot of people from EU side party, they were questioning. They were saying, "Oh, there've been, some unfair moves on the other side." Well, it turned out that it wasn't, or unless no one proved anything, and I would say, I'm guilty until proven otherwise.
I guess, but and then obviously, given that protest that happened in that parliament, people weren't that happy about it.
Yeah, so basically what happened last week is they were officially announcing the results of that, because it wasn't happening like in America. I don't know if you've seen that meme when it was like a video, and literally the next day after election, they were already painting over the Kamala Harris mural, and I was like, "Oh, hold on! Like this Biden is still sleeping in his chair, and they're already covering this up." So
Let's forget that ever happened.
In Georgia, it didn't happen that quick, and just last week they were announcing this. And the representative of the pro-EU party came and literally spilled the black paint on the face of the guy who was announcing this. I don't remember his name, so don't ask me for that. Don't hang me for it. But it's it's
okay, he's been blacklisted.
Nice. You see, this is a proof that we're listening to each other. So. It was quite an event. We've seen worse things in Romanian government. I remember a few years back, they were literally fighting. There was some proper boxing game, arguably better performance than Tyson with Jake Paul. But anyway, yeah. So they spilled the black paint. They said they're gonna be pushing the allegations against unfair elections. Obviously, that's 99.9% going to end up just with words. So far, the member of the parliament who did that will be banned for some time from coming to work, we can call it. And after a short break, the person who had the paint on their face came back with a little bandage on their eye.
Oh,
so. It's, but I would say, look at the bright side, look at the glass half full. He could always spill the paint and light it up on fire. And he did it.
Yeah, exactly. That is the bright side.
I would say he was a gentleman.
So you're saying that the MP that threw the paint got suspended, right?
Right.
So does that mean that if I throw paint on your face, I get the week off next week?
Well, unpaid. But yes, I think he's still getting paid some money for it, or at least this is gonna bring him a bit of fame. I think you don't know how these cards gonna unfold. Maybe he gonna gain a popularity and he gonna use it on his to boost his presidential campaign in a few years. You don't know.
Exactly. His campaign will only be just throwing paint at people.
Exactly. and I love this. Do good politics no matter what it takes. So And I think that's it. We're going to keep informing you if there is any update on that, although both of those facts have been they were more scandalous rather than...
the more controversial and viral moments of the week.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about Trump later, so controversy and scandal will follow.
It depends from which position you're looking at it. Okay, so what is the next news we're going for?
Next, let's go to home news. Let's go to the UK, where... So a few weeks ago we had the budget, and we didn't really talk about it just because there was a lot going on across the pond.
I mean, like, we talk about it a little bit.
We mentioned it. We mentioned it a few times.
We just said it's not going to be easy, and these are not the good news.
And as it has been easy or good news, given the fact that the budget was almost a month ago now, the repercussions and the protests from that are still being felt. In particular, this is in the setting of the Welsh Labour Conference, Labour Party Conference, which was held in... I'm going to try my Welsh pronunciation now.
I'm not even...
Llandunduno?
B minus.
B minus. I'll accept that.
B for trying, minus for reality. Yeah.
Where Keir Starmer was actually obviously speaking. And outside there was a parade of tractors blocking the way. This is due to the fact that farmers are upset by the changes of the inheritance tax. So basically this in the budget, there's going to be a 20% inheritance tax on land that is estimated at over from £1 million. So this was...
Which is just to clarify, most of lands are estimated on that.
Are they?
I mean, like, your land has to be really small to be under the £1 million. Because if we're talking about agriculture and we're talking mass production, we're not talking just of farmers who are having few carrots to put the stick in their hummus in the morning. You have the most likely they're big conglomerates, even though it's a family businesses. Yeah. And I don't know what's the price per acre. Like, obviously, we're not discussing London prices, but we're going to be talking thousands of people being affected.
I mean, I don't think... our generation won't be able to afford a house. Definitely not able to afford the land. So that's why I haven't really looked at land prices lately.
What a bright future ahead of us.
It's great to be 26.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, so that budget... that part of the budget was mostly done for the rich people. So, all those big estates, the big mansions that rich people have, I've got land all over, obviously estimated at over £1 million. But the downside was that it obviously hit the farmers as well, who have, small to medium business, as Blaise said, might be estimated at £1 million already. And that obviously hits the farmers directly. Obviously farmers as well tends to be, obviously not generalizing, but a family business. It usually gets passed down by generations, and so therefore the inheritance tax gets hit. They're still there, the tractors.
Well, look, I have some statistics actually, which I didn't. When we were discussing this, I didn't look in my notes, but it's 2/3 of farmers would be liable to pay this tax. So we're talking, a lot. And I back in the days, I was actually working with organization which was lobbying big farming unions, and I know the numbers. 2/3 of farmers, we're talking tens of thousands of people.
Okay.
I don't want to bring exact numbers because I don't remember it that well, but I know we're talking a lot. And what I see a bit of a paradox here, because on one hand, Keir Starmer is saying that it's necessary to do those budget cuts. He's saying, I'm not going to break. We need to do that. Trying to be reasonable at the same time, I have to give it back to him. So he put 20-something million to help farmers in Wales. And then he said that before the end of the year, going to be another 22 million injection. But believing to what they are saying, it's just the drop in the ocean of needs.
Yeah.
But he's so resistant and he is so standing for his words. But on the other hand, when they came to meet him, he left through the back door. As Independent said, he fled like a rat through the back door. Of course. And then this is up. Of course, they picked this quote because it's selling nice. But on the other hand, that was actually a quote from a famous farmer YouTuber.
Oh, I did not know there was a category of YouTube.
Yeah, there are people who are making money on being YouTuber on but Jeremy Clarkson, I think, the biggest one.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Gareth Wynne Jones, he said these words. I actually have seen that interview. And I got to say, he wasn't just shouting and swearing and stuff. That was quite reasonable. He said, you know, even though Keir Starmer would be blamed, even though he would be booed, he should have guts. It's funny because when he was saying that interview, you can see that he want to say balls, but then he realized, oh, I'm in TV. I need to say guts, and respect for that, Gareth. So he said that he fled back like a rat through the back door, and didn't come and didn't have these guns to actually stand for what he was about to say. And I agree, because on one hand, that might have been a little bit, you know, if that would be picked by media, I understand that he doesn't want this footage to be really published. But on the other hand, he could do just a speech saying, listen, guys, it is what it is. Trust me, if you're caring about your generations, I think it's going to be better later, blah, 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 blah. Whatever he thinks is right. He could just come and say that. But talking about that, I just want to say that farmers said that the protests on the street of Wales, it's not going to be the end of it. They want to come and block the streets of London. And on one hand, I cannot wait because I'm cycling everywhere and I don't give a shit about the traffic. On the other hand, it's been already said that they're going to be arrested.
Oh, right. Okay.
If they would do that. And I would say if I would be the farmer right now, I'm considering becoming one quickly, because if I would be a farmer right now, I would do that, because realistically they're not gonna put you in jail for more than 48 hours for doing something like that. That would be politically incorrect, and it's in general it's not such a big deal to really spend time in prison. But on the other hand, you would ended up as this hero of
hero, the martyr for the farmers.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to put me as a farmer under their farm, I'm happy to drive your tractor and block some roads.
I'm just not very good with heavy work or dirt.
I can be the farmer on the paper, but but I like my cushy place and organic fruits.
No, a little tangent here. So obviously the plan is to bring tractors to central London. I have been involved in a very similar protest as well.
Were you?
I was. So it was back in Italy. So I come from a very small town in Tuscany. Shout out to Pari. And it is a very, it's a big farming community. There's, everyone, there's the bee guy, there's the lavender guy, there's the oil guy.
Oh.
And because it's such a small village, they decided to close the post office and open it only once a month. But that, of course, was where people get their pensions and stuff like that. And so what everyone did was get their tractors, get on the highway, and block it for a whole day. And after that, the post office opened twice a month. So 200% result.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Were you taking part in it?
I was having a nap in the back seat. It was a long day.
This guy gonna work on your field like there's no tomorrow. Okay. This is actually not funny. Go, guys.
Go farm.
Go farmers. Okay, so shall we move to another topic? I'm afraid that we're a little bit in too funny moods to talk about it. On the other hand, it's gotta be said.
It's gotta be addressed.
It's gotta be addressed. So I'm gonna start with a little news flash. So do you know that when they built the church in Canterbury.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a better name for this building than church.
Cathedral.
Cathedral, exactly. When they built cathedral in Canterbury, that was the biggest building in the world at that time.
Oh,
Yeah, I've been there recently. I've seen it, and I gotta say, it looks like Notre Dame.
wow.
I was like, this is
pretty cool.
impressive. It looks impressive even now. And it was like, 13th century, 14th century, something like that.
Well, I mean, if you've got the money that the monarchy has,
Yeah.
it helps.
So it's very important building, and that was a house, and it still is. It's just going to be someone else. To the most important, the highest ranked archbishop in the country. Am I correct?
That is the Archbishop of Canterbury.
The Archbishop of Canterbury, and he's called
Justin Welby.
Mr. Welby. Yeah?
Which, by the way, I love the fact that we had an archbishop called Justin.
Well, not anymore.
Not anymore.
But I can see. I'm not gonna say that. I just want to say that.
And I was like, baby, baby, baby.
Let's say something along those lines. But so basically, we have the scandal. Everyone who is in UK and maybe outside of UK as well, you know that there was a massive pedophile scandal with him. Basically having some sexual relationship.
Not him directly. He was just the head of the church.
Yeah, but he was covering this.
Yes. Yes.
So, and the investigation is still on, as long as I'm aware.
So there was a report that came out about 2 weeks ago,
Right.
which obviously was published, and there were some serious failings in reporting. In particular, there was this bishop called John Smith that was quite a prolific abuser.
And he was running the Christian summer camps.
Of course he was. Of course he was. But yeah, so obviously the responsibility goes all the way to the top, because there were cover-ups or failures to report at the very least. And so Justin Welby took responsibility and resigned as Archbishop of Canterbury. Now, the Archbishop of Canterbury, just a bit of how the Anglican Church works. So the head of the church, so basically the Pope of the Anglicans, is the monarch. So currently it's King Charles. However, the Archbishop of Canterbury is more the guy who actually does the job of head of church.
Like he's practically the guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one who gives, the speeches at Easter, at Christmas, and
Let me compare it. Okay, so theoretically, all the swans belong to royal family, but it's actually the caretaker is taking care of them.
yes.
King Charles, the last time he saw the swan, it was on the postcard. It's 1979.
Yeah.
So this is pretty much the same split of duties, and I just want to say that I mean, like, before I'm gonna have some conclusions and questions. I just want to say that the second most senior bishop in church, in Anglican Church, the Archbishop of York, Stephen Cottrell, says he admires Webley for stepping down, and that church made real progress in safeguarding under his leadership.
Safeguard.
And I'm like, how, do we have also a problem with drinking and church? because this is ridiculous. Like, how you can say such words. Like, the last word you should use in the same sentence as Welby is safeguarding and safety. And I'm like, what's really wrong with this guy if all this scandal is about lack of safety? And I understand that he's trying to be political and diplomatic and trying to, make this, playing stupid that everything is okay, and actually finding some positivity in the fact that he's stepping down. But, God save the Queen. Why you're saying
King? Queen's gone.
Exactly. Like, why would you say something like that? I think it's ridiculous.
And one thing I love is that he said, he admires Welby for stepping down. To me, it sounds like, oh, well done you for doing it. I'm good. I'm sticking in post. I know it's kind of on me as well, but good for you for doing the right thing. I'm sticking around.
Yeah. I think exactly. I think my conclusion from this whole situation is that silence is the killer.
Yeah.
The fact that no one spoke, that's what made that would led to this tragedy, you know. And my question, second question and final question on this topic from me is what's happening with church now? Because as we know, the church is experiencing a big depression. A lot of believers are dropping the apostasy. That's how we call it.
Sure. Sure.
So the activity that people officially cutting their ties with church, and then is that bump. Of course, the Vatican can say, "Oh, but this is not our church. We're separating ourselves from it." But first of all, people don't know that. Second of all, everyone is considering them as one big family. So
Yeah, well, I mean, the Church of England, compared to other Christian religions, is probably the most, obviously no disrespect to Church of England, but it's probably the lightest in terms of responsibilities that you can do. Like, for example, Justin Welby, wife and kids. A Catholic priest, it needs to be celibate. Women, can women be priests here? I'm not entirely sure.
I think can be.
Yeah, so it's quite light and quite progressive compared to other Catholic religions.
Yeah, but not as progressive as
Christians.
as flirting with kids.
No. There's still issues there, obviously. But no, I mean, so what happens now? What happens now is that, so there's going to be a transition period. They need to pick the new Archbishop of Canterbury. This might take about 6 months. The new person will be selected by a board that includes bishops and members of Parliament, because Church of England and Parliament are quite tied together, as the monarch is both the head of state and of the Church of England. But what's interesting to me is that the person who's selected as the Archbishop of Canterbury doesn't have to be a bishop. It could be anyone.
Wait, hold on, because 5 minutes ago I want to be a farmer. But now it looks like there is a better job to cover.
There is. Think of your office. How big your office is going to be.
And you're saying that you still can have a wife?
You can still have a wife. I don't know if you can have a husband, but you can definitely have a wife.
Is it a limitation to amount?
Listen, we're launching now our campaign to become the first farmer Archbishop of Canterbury.
With many wives.
With many wives.
And husbands, because we're progressive. You said they're progressive.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's talk to Justin.
Talk to Justin. How did he do that? Okay. Well, so since we already covered what was happening in Australia, what was happening in Georgia, what happened on the streets with farmers, and what happened in English church, I think we can have the cherry on the top. Our favorite topic, everyone's favorite topic, which will be
Trump. As compared to last week, we were both in a bit of a doom and gloom moment. It was probably the most depressive episode that we've done. And look at us all laughing. I think we've digested it.
We've digested. We just adapted.
We've adapted. We survived it.
We're you as well. We're millennials. That's why.
Yeah. We just roll with the punches.
Exactly.
There's many more coming.
Exactly.
But yeah, so this is kind of the news that Trump is picking his team, his cabinet, his advisors, new departments, which compared to last time he was president. And every time I say this, people say, "Oh, well, that can't be true." That last time, I don't think he believed he was going to win. That's why he wasn't as prepared. This time, the proof that he is prepared is that within days, he's picked his cabinet. Most of the cabinets, at least.
Yeah.
So
But
I think he's ready now.
I think personally, it's also related with the fact that he knows that he's the best or he's the worst. This is his last campaign. This is his last election.
I don't think he believes that.
Oh yeah, because he's gonna try to change the law, right?
Yeah, I mean, what was it? New Deal guy, Roosevelt. He had 3 terms.
Did he?
Yeah, he's the only president to have had 3 terms.
Why?
So
Why did he?
just so good, so goddamn good.
Well, okay, so expect unexpected. Maybe what I'm saying right, maybe what I said right now is not necessarily truth, but I believe he just wants to do as much as possible, and in his opinion, what's the best. And well done for being prepared. But let's verify quickly what does it actually mean. So we gonna go very quickly through all the most important picks of Trump, and. Do you want to kick it off? Maybe you want to kick it off.
Let's kick it off. Let's kick it off with probably the most controversial one.
Go.
The one that even Republicans have said, even Trump loyalists have said, this is the worst pick anyone could have done for Attorney General, which is Matt Gaetz.
Yeah.
Now, Matt Gaetz used to be the congressman for Florida. Big Trump loyalist, he was there defending Trump on January 6th in Congress when Biden was being approved. A few controversies around him. Definitely lack of experience when it comes to law. Well, he does have some experience.
Well, I just a few controversies and lack of experience when it comes to law. I think he doesn't know the basic rules because from what I know, he was accused or suspected. No, sorry, not accused as well.
Accused.
And suspected as well for paying for sex with underage girl.
Yeah, a bit of human trafficking, a bit of pedophilia.
Yeah, that's just a sprinkle on the
Yeah.
top. It's just a dessert. But he was also using the illegal drugs.
Mm-hmm.
This is fine. Like that, our Boris, but
Boris.
also been seen in this company. And he was also misusing the campaign's funds.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, everything has been dropped and that's important to say, that it never has been proved.
So the reason why this is true, the fact that nothing was been proved and the investigation never finished, is because 2 days before the report, because he was being investigated by the Attorney General, 2 days before the report was meant to come out, he resigned. So the report, because it was an internal report for Congress, that report goes in the bin.
It's funny that you're saying this because today I was reading about a boxing fight between Floyd Mayweather and Oscar De La Hoya. And Floyd Mayweather won, and it was one of the most controversial fights because a lot of people were saying that he shouldn't win this fight. And he had a contract to do the rematch with Oscar De La Hoya within a year.
Mm-hmm.
And then he retired for a year and 1 day. So contract expired and no one can prove anything. So
another fact about Matt Gaetz. So this comes from his colleagues, Republican colleagues, that he used to boast a lot about his sexual encounters. So he used to go around, like when in Congress, like this is in the House, scrolling through his phones, showing his colleagues, everyone he's shagged. And kept saying, oh, yeah, and to go all night, I used to take Viagra and Red Bull and go all night. Which, to me, not a brag. Not a brag. A brag is...
keep your mouth shut.
I even did it all night without Viagra and Red Bull. But no, he wanted to clarify.
But maybe his brain is still 15 years old. And emotional intelligence. Because not to... offend any 15 years old people.
Yeah, so the 17-year-old he shagged was sort of like a mother figure for him, you're saying?
She was kind of impressive to him.
Yeah, no, it was like a MILF.
Actually, maybe she seduced him. Okay.
So that's Matt Gaetz.
I'm gonna go with the big shot, Mr. Kennedy.
Okay.
Mr. Kennedy, and yes, it's not a coincidence. It's from these Kennedys. He's a nephew to JFK, and he is known. We had a long debate about him before the podcast, and he is known for a fan of conspiracy theories, for a guy who wants to treat everyone with unconventional medicine and stuff. And he gonna be looking at the health system of US. He is the guy who was saying, and this is not manipulation, he was saying that the shady effects of COVID vaccines and effects of 5G phone signals. So he's that type of guy. And to be honest, I don't know if you have that impression, but for me, he looks a little bit like Mel Gibson, who is also not known for not very popular opinions.
A dehydrated.
Yeah, slightly dehydrated, definitely. But anyway.
Just saying a lot, because Mel Gibson looks like a raisin.
Yeah, I mean, it's... I personally do not agree fully, and I have to defend this, and that's what we had debate before the show, that I think on one hand people are saying, oh, he's anti-vaccines and stuff, but he and his family is vaccinated for last 20 years against flu. He's just against COVID vaccine. You might agree with that or disagree, doesn't matter, but it's not, I wouldn't like to spread the misinformation that he's all this evil. He just has the controversial opinions, but he's not 100% into this. As the media, he's not as bad as the headlines are presenting him.
So I don't think he's evil. I think his heart is in a good place. He's just weird, and to me, not entirely competent. Like when. So Bobby Kennedy Jr., he ran himself for president, then stepped down to support Trump. But during his campaign, he brought up so many stories about himself, which he should not have. like the fact that he had a worm in his brain, he brought it up as a defense for his divorce. Like, oh yeah, I was being weird because I got a worm.
Right.
He brought up himself this story that it was something to do with a bear. Either he hit it or someone else hit him. He put it in the back of his van and then dropped it in New York City in Central Park because he wanted to eat him.
No, but hold on. How did he put the bear on the back of his car? That doesn't stick. You know how heavy bear is? It's like 400 kgs. I don't know how many it is in pounds.
I guess he had friends who helped him out who also wanted bear for dinner.
Are those friends other bears? Because who has the strength to lift it up? I mean, I totally get it, but for instance, what he's saying about the food which is coming to US, and that everything is stuffed with sugar, because we in Europe, we have no idea how it is. Like the organic fit products are made, 80% of them, I'm not even exaggerating, they're sugar, they're and obesity they're dealing with, and the heart problems, and all this stuff is coming from that, because sugar is legal, but it's equally addictive as anything else what is not legal, but it's killing you slowly. So I think, for instance, where he's saying, I'm gonna get it out from the market, I'm gonna stop our kids from being the most obese kids in the world, I'm saying, you know what, do it. It's just like, the question is, and I understand where you're coming from, the question is if he's gonna do it in a reasonable way, because even Trump was saying that he's calling him Bobby, and he's saying, Bobby, you can do whatever, just stay away from liquid gold. We have the most oil on the planet. It is not true, by the way, Mr. Donald, but anyway. But we have so much liquid gold. Let me take care of it. Let me squeeze the money out of it, because Kennedy wants to also, because he's an environmentalist, big time, and he would like to also stop the whole oil industry, because it's bad for planet. And I'm like, fair enough.
Okay. But just going back to food and sugar. Pop quiz. What's Donald Trump's favorite food?
I don't know, judging from last videos online, fries.
McDonald's.
Oh, yeah.
It is McDonald's.
Yeah.
Like, he loves a Big Mac.
Yeah.
Full of sugar.
Well,
do you think Bobby Kennedy do you think Trump will let Bobby Kennedy take away his McDonald's?
I think he's not going to take away McDonald's, but if he, for instance, would put I'm looking at it in a different way. What if he's going to put the strict rules about what's coming to school diners?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What if he's gonna put restrictions that everything what has, let's say, this amount of sugar in it? I'm simplifying this because it's not gonna be like that.
Sure.
But let's say this amount of sugar in it has to have a big sticker that it's unhealthy. You know, like you know,
Cigarettes.
yeah, like cigarettes. You know, and we can see that the Gen Z in US almost not smoking cigarettes anymore. Does it work? Yes. Is it better for society? Yes, it's better. So I'm just like, you know, the one thing which this is quite controversial, in my opinion, it might be bad or might be equally wrong, is that he is going for big pharma, they call it.
Yep.
So he wants to find a big pharmaceutical conglomerate. And I'm saying that's okay, because we all know that they are really ruling the world. Maybe it's a bit too high up.
But they have a lot of political influence.
They have a lot of political influence. They are managing the biggest budgets out of all industries, most likely. And we don't want to. The only thing is like how it's gonna be played, because we have the example of, for instance, from Venezuela, from 90s, how they nationalized the PDVSA, which was, for instance, the third biggest oil company, and then because they were saying, oh, they're doing the bad practices, they have too much power, and Venezuela, it looks right now, in a big part because of that. Of course, I don't believe that U.S. gonna nationalize anything, but what I'm saying is, first of all, we don't know, and the second thing, like, depends how it's gonna be done.
And definitely not under Trump. I mean, the Republicans are all for privatization.
Yeah.
They don't like nationalization.
Exactly. No, but what I'm saying is, like, I'm not saying that it's going to be nationalized. I'm just giving that example that things can be done well, or if someone is unexperienced, it might be done in a weird way.
Speaking of unexperienced, let's talk about the new defense secretary,
Right.
Pete Hegseth.
Right.
His experience is sitting on a couch every Saturday and Sunday on Fox and Friends.
Oh, he's the Fox host, isn't it?
Yeah,
Fox.
he's Fox and Friends weekend. He's not even allowed to be there every
Is
day.
this breakfast TV?
I think it is. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, obviously Fox and Friends is Trump's favorite TV show. He often just would call in unannounced, unplanned, and just have a chat with them. And I guess he really likes this Pete Hegseth, who is literally a TV presenter, and he is in charge of defense now.
This is crazy. When I saw it, I was just wondering if this is the Trump, if this is the price Trump committed to pay when Fox News said we're gonna win it for you.
Yeah.
But our man has to be there sitting high up, and it has to be someone easy to manipulate who doesn't know nothing about what he's doing.
Exactly. So that's defense. In the same category, there's Homeland. It's in category of department and experience, by the way. We've got Kristi Noem. Kristi Noem came up in the campaign twice because she was the one who was a potential VP pick, vice president pick.
Right.
But then she released this book saying that she killed her dog. So she wasn't the pick anymore. And also hosted the event where Trump was tired and just played a playlist for 40 minutes, which we did discuss. Yeah, it was a great, it was a jam session. Everyone loved it.
Yeah. How to win presidency? Just play some good old tracks.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way to do it.
By the way, on W1 Radio every Tuesday, 70s show. I'm the next candidate. Yeah.
But yeah, so she is in charge of Homeland.
What does it even mean?
It's like the Home Office here. So like.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like.
By the way, she's like chief of staff now.
Homeland Security.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay.
We can talk about chief of staff though. Those are
talk
quite controversial. Not controversial. Those were probably the most expected ones. So we've got chief of staff is Susie Wiles, who led the campaign for Trump.
Yeah.
So obviously very capable because you managed to get a convicted felon into the White House. after being president once, losing your election and winning it after. So that's quite impressive.
Well
That's
done.
a good job.
You know how to play politics.
Yeah. Deputy Chief of Staff, however, is this guy called Miller. Miller is an ideologue, as in, like, you know, he is all about ideas and is very much for MAGA. He's more MAGA than MAGA. He is,
Visionary.
yeah, sure, that's a word. But yeah, he is the guy who at the Madison Square Garden rally quoted some of Goebbels, and it didn't help that he kind of looks like Goebbels as well. Yeah, so keep an eye on him because he might be the puppet master, maybe. Like, he might be the one who steers the presidency, like, help, because he's got, as I said, he's more MAGA than MAGA. And who's MAGA? Trump. So if he might be able to lead Trump into actualizing what he wants to do.
It's interesting that you're saying this because at the end of that we have a few more people to talk to through. But at the end of what we were saying, I was going to say that I wouldn't trust so much in any of those guys working independently because Trump is too much of a MAGA. It's too much of a dominant, too much of an independent kind of solitary leader. Just in this context. Well, there is not many people left to discuss, but I definitely want to discuss one of the, for me, quite ridiculous, which is Tulsi Gabbard. And, you know, I remember I'm a fan of Friends. It's not politically correct right now.
Okay.
But there is an episode where, because I just think this is a comedy and everyone who is feeling it's inappropriate, just chill out. It's a comedy in 90s. But anyway, what I was going to say, there was an episode where Chandler is falling asleep at the meeting. And because he fell asleep, he kind of accidentally, he's signing up for moving from New York to Tulsa. You knew that it's coming. And as much as no one wanted Tulsa and moved to Tulsa, I think no one wants Tulsi. She, yeah, please.
No, she is, and I see the irony. She's the director of national intelligence, which I thought you had to have intelligence to be part of that position.
Exactly. Unless it's insulting to American citizens that that the whole nation has not high intelligence level.
Of all the people in the U.S.,
they pick her
to be intelligent.
Yeah, but what I was going to say when I was going with my dry dad joke is that no one wanted to move to Tulsa in France in 90s, and no one wants Tulsi because she was a former Democrat.
Oh, I didn't know she was a Democrat.
She was a Democrat, and she swung like, you know, like a good old flag
for Trump.
For Trump, yeah.
Okay, interesting.
So she was, and she was you know that she was blaming NATO for Russian invasion as well.
Yeah. No, she did that, and also she was quite controversial because she went to talk to Assad and other world leaders, even though she wasn't sent there officially.
Right.
So that is it is kind of illegal because you need to be a diplomat or sent by a government to talk if you're there as a government, being the voice of a government. So that was kind of illegal. But she said, "Oh no, but Assad is fine. Assad is a friend."
Right. Well, I think in a Trump's government, it's not that's rare that you are a convict, because
no, I mean, look at Matt Gaetz. Like,
I mean, like, look at Trump.
Look at yeah, sure.
He has a lot of charges. It's funny because none of this has been ever proven. No one ever went to court. But somehow everyone has something against them.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. It was the new Attorney General will straighten everything out, make sure nothing comes out anymore.
Okay. Well, because this BJ is becoming very long, but because we have a lot of fun and there is a lot of things to say, we have last two people.
Yeah.
I'm going to go quickly with the Secretary of the State, Marco Rubio.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's hitting charge as the most normal guy, but on the other hand, I personally don't share his enthusiasm on politics with China. I think it can be dangerous. And I am thinking not even about Americans, which can be dangerous for, but I'm very selfish. I'm talking about Europeans. That's another level of conversation, another hour of talk. Why is that? But in general, going hard on China when there is a war on the eastern flank of Europe, I don't think it's very smart. But
I know we may disagree on this, just because I know Rubio is a very experienced politician. He ran himself in 2016 to become the Republican leader.
right.
And actually, it was him. Remember when there was a whole thing about Trump's hands being too small? And you know what they say about men with small hands? It was Rubio who said that. So I'm shocked that Trump picked someone to made the penis joke about him. I mean, he picked as vice president someone who called him Hitler, but still, the small hands and small penis.
You know
that
how it
hurts.
is.
That hits him directly.
You know this.
Hitler, he can wash off, but the small hands.
It's all about ego. But it's you know what they say about keeping enemies even closer.
Yeah, a Secretary of State, which is quite a big position, but
It is.
yeah.
And then the last, our favorite one.
Yes, my favorite person in the world. He got a job too.
Go for it.
It's Elon Musk. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek Ramaswamy was also someone who was trying to be leader of be a Republican candidate at the beginning for this 2024 election, but he kind of supported Trump anyway. Vivek Ramaswamy is quite young, very rich, not compared to Musk, but he's quite rich.
Is he like Rishi Sunak of US?
He is a bit of a Rishi Sunak of the US.
It has nothing to do with his race, by the way.
No, just money and privilege.
Exactly. Yeah.
So these two men have been put in charge of the Department of Government Efficiency, for short, Dodge, which obviously is a nod to the Bitcoin, to the cryptocurrency Dodge. It's like this is definitely Elon Musk. It's his stupid sense of humor, if you can call it a sense of humor. That he definitely nailed it. It was definitely him.
Yeah, I mean, like, I wouldn't be surprised. It's his style. You know that I have a theory that he did it, only because he wanted to be on another episode of BJ.
Oh yeah, and I know he watches this podcast
Hi,
very
Elon.
attentively. Hey Elon. Yeah, it just does it to wrap me up.
Yeah, he wasn't mentioned for maybe 2-3 episodes,
I
and he's
know.
already becoming all this princess thing, creating acronyms for departments.
And you know what? I've been actively trying not to talk about him because he's been popping up in the news often. And I come on, I've been shitting too much on Elon, let's calm down, let's not talk about him. But then he just comes back.
Yeah,
He's making more and more noise, so we have to talk about
we have to talk about this guy. On a serious note, I just think if there is a secret deal between him and Trump, if he puts so much money and effort into winning this campaign for Trump, that right now he's saying this is the time to pay back. But again, we were talking about it off the record, and you were saying that actually you heard that Trump has enough of him.
Yeah, I think he's getting bored of him. Because, obviously he's very grateful for what he's done with Twitter and all the money he's given to the campaign. And, obviously, as we discussed, Musk wants those NASA contracts for SpaceX and Tesla contracts for moving to electric cars. However, it has been said that if you want someone to go away, invent a department and give it to them. Department of Government Efficiency is a Trump invention.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's saying that Musk and his compadre will be focusing on cutting $2.5 billion in spending. And I'm like, if that's going to be achieved,
Which is
send this guy here.
And where it could go is something that we did mention months ago on this podcast, which is cutting the Department of Education, which is something that has been mooted again.
Right.
or just basically cutting departments altogether. That's how you get to that trillion number. Also, because the trillion number was something that Elon Musk came up with on the cuff. Like, he was there saying, yeah, I'm going to be government efficiency, woo, jumping, doing those stupid star jumps. And he said, oh, so how much are you going to cut? I don't know, 2 trillion? I don't know.
That's just a random number.
Yeah, but no, apparently this government is meant to produce results within 3 to 6 months.
Well, look, I think we're going to find out, but what is intriguing me about Musk taking actually official position in the White House is that I don't remember any person from top 10, top 5, let's say, richest people in the world being on an actual official position, not being just in the back row influencing.
Yeah, it actually surprised me.
Yeah,
so obviously we all know my positions on Elon Musk.
Yeah,
but I was actually disappointed in him. Like, I thought he was more than having a government position, because surely you would have more power without government red tape. Because when you're in government, you need to follow the rules.
You need to follow the rules, and you need to follow whatever your party is saying. And on top of it, some of the deals are jeopardized on the day one. You don't even have to leave your house. It's some of the people will not gonna do deals with you anymore. Although I gotta say that his particular business and what he wants to focus on, the only people he wanna deal with and he has interest to deal with is NASA. And if I'm just curious what he gonna say, what deals he gonna get with NASA.
Oh, I don't think he's allowed to anymore because he's part of the government. Because if you think about, for example, COVID here, when there was all those contracts for masks and stuff, so many people got in trouble because those contracts were given to lords or MPs.
Yeah.
Now that he is running a department, I don't know how appropriate it would be for him to get government contracts.
Interesting, isn't it?
So I think he shot himself in the foot. As I said, I thought Musk was better than this.
Yeah, no, I think he has deals we don't know about. I don't think he would be that stupid to be just like, oh, I just want to have this little, fancy bathrobe.
Yeah, but as I've been saying on this podcast as well,
he's
Musk only wants a friend, and that friend is Trump. When he was announced as head of government efficiency, he X'd or whatever fuck they're saying it now. He said, "Oh, I'm gonna be the first buddy," and I think it's not as
unbelievable.
And I don't think it's as first lady, first gentleman. Isn't like Jenny the first buddy he's ever had.
The first buddy, yeah, most likely.
Yeah,
I can see it in his eyes. Anyway. That was very long, BJ at lunch. You have to forgive us. Hope you enjoyed it, because there was a lot of funny moments, a lot of things to talk. James, thank you.
Well, thank you, Blaze, and thank you, everyone.
And this Thursday, we're coming up with a deep BJ at lunch, which we will be talking about things which you will find out on our social media as quick as in upcoming days.
So check us out. We actually have multiple social media pages now. We've got TikTok, we've got Instagram, we've got Twitter, we've got X.
We've got a lot of
wanted
this.
He wanted it.
We've got a lot of this. We are as Politics BJ, but we also W1 Radio, which is our streaming platform. So check us out and see you later.
So yeah, thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is a Soho moment. This is SOMO W1 Radio.